Hey, back again with another snazzy video, and today I'm a little late to the party, and that is because I am talking about Riley Dennis's video about transitioning. Now, not to be any more late to the party, let's go ahead and start this, shall we?
I want cisgender people to see me and realize that maybe the stereotype of trans people they have in their head is inaccurate.
While I don't mean to say this in a rude way, Riley, you claiming that you don't want to be a stereotype as a trans person, while actually acting into the stereotypes of a trans person, one of them being a man in a dress, which I myself fit into, and also being one of those Tumblr brat trannies.
Several large YouTubers have been peddling the myth that I'm not really trans for well over a year now. They say I'm not a true trans because they claim I'm not taking any steps to transition, like not taking hormones and not having surgeries. But the thing is, those things are not requirements to being trans. Trans people do not have to prove their transness by being prescribed hormones or by having surgery. And I refuse to play into those rules. FFS does not make someone trans. Hormones do not make someone trans.
Well, it's true that you don't need hormones or surgery to be trans. What is needed is the mental disorder of gender dysphoria and some form of alleviating those symptoms through transition in order for you to actually be trans. Be that hormones, surgery, or simply just being able to wear the clothes and sound the way that you want to sound and living your way as the gender that you desire to be. While many people, including myself, are wrong about your level of dysphoria, it's the dysphoria aspect of it, not your transition aspect medically, that made people believe that you were not trans.
And I refuse to throw other trans people under the bus just because they don't take hormones or haven't had surgery or don't pass. Because I think that's a really gross way of gatekeeping who's allowed in the trans community. Who is the judge of who is really trans? Because that's a pretty big responsibility. We'd have to set up a whole bureaucratic system for trans people to apply for true trans status, and we'd have to collectively agree on the criteria for someone being classified as a real trans person.
While I understand you were being a bit facetious about defining what trans is, it is possible to define transness due to the mental aspects of being trans, that being gender dysphoria. While gatekeeping isn't as simple as looking towards someone like yourself and saying you're not a real trans person, there is still some validity in gatekeeping coupled with what we know about being trans and that being gender dysphoria being a part of it.
If a person feels that they're trans, they're trans. Just like how if a person feels that they're cisgender or straight or gay or bisexual, we should just believe them. We don't need to constantly test everyone's identity and make them prove who they are.
Now that's actually a little interesting coming from you, Riley, because while I do agree that we shouldn't be going into every conversation with a trans person in suspicion, I do say that given what we know about transgenderism, to see if we find signs of a person claiming to be one for reasons outside of mental health preservation.
If my options were between 1, making trans people feel comfortable and safe while maybe sometimes having the rare case of someone pretending to be trans, or 2, creating a culture of mistrust toward trans people while misgendering tons of trans people, and maybe occasionally calling out the rare cis person pretending to be trans, I'd absolutely choose the former.
The thing about that is that it's not either or. We can still accept trans people overall while still looking for those trying to fit into a trend or those promoting a trend and the mental disorder and its associated treatment.
And all of that being said, I don't think that cis people pretending to be trans is nearly as big of a problem as these people make it out to be. Cis people aren't afforded any additional benefits by pretending to be trans, so the incentive for them to do that is very low.
I'm actually going to let Riley actually answer this one for me.
I saw that there were communities of smaller YouTubers, and I wanted to be a part of that.
For Riley, being accepted into that small sect of YouTube is the same way that trenders want to be part of this marginalized group in order to be unique and accepted.
I mean, the word that these people use to describe folks who they think are faking being trans is trans trender. I've been called a trans trender thousands of times, and not just by random commenters, but by large YouTubers. Trans trender makes it sound like being trans is some cool trend, but it's not.
Now it's true, being trans is not fun. It's not this great, exciting, glorifying thing. However, trenders have turned the face of transgenderism into a new, fun, and trendy thing, and it has basically become the new emo of sorts. It's a way to rebel, and it's a way to be unique. Except this has a lot more permanent ramifications if you actually are going to go ahead and transition. Now, a person could say that a professional has to be the one to prescribe you hormones, except having gone through the process to actually get hormones, I can see how the system can actually be manipulated if you just simply believe yourself without having actual dysphoria to be actually trans. That being finding the right doctors or even finding an informed consent clinic in which they don't actually require you to find therapy first.
If it seems like more and more people are coming out as trans nowadays, that's only because there's more visibility for trans people.
While it's possible the increase of trans visibility is the reason for the increased number of reported cases of trans individuals, I think it's foolish to believe that the recent trend in transgenderism is not also to blame.
Not all trans people experience gender dysphoria. For some, their sense of their gender being different from the one they were assigned at birth doesn't give them enough distress to qualify as gender dysphoria.
To me, something happened once gender identity disorder became gender dysphoria, and that many people started to believe that wanting to be the other gender was completely normal. And as I've said before, to be tranny is not normal. Now, this is not something that's inherently evil or morally wrong, it's just simply not normal. And trying to act like it is normal opens the doors for someone suffering these issues or many other underlying issues into not being treated properly. That being receiving the treatment for gender dysphoria instead of the treatment for the other underlying issues that the person has in general. But that's all for this video today, guys. This was my first kind of reaction-ish video, and I do plan to do a little bit more of these eventually. Want to know what you guys think though down in the comments. Do you guys believe that I'm right? Do you guys think I'm off base with this one? Why? Why not? Let me know. Also, I decided to start up a Twitch channel and a gaming channel. They're going to be down in the links below, and come check that out if you're interested in that. And also, I'm going to be leaving down my Steam info if anyone wants to join in on some of this fun I'm going to be having. And yeah, but as always, love you guys, and I will see you guys on the 20th for my 1 month update video. And I'll see you then. Bye.